Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. We become really good at what we practice. If we practice looking at what we want, pretending that we're already there, feeling what it would be like, we start to think that it's possible. We start to believe that we really could think about a way to get there, to have that. But it takes practice. It takes rehearsing what we want. Otherwise, we keep revolving around life as it currently is, reality, what people would call common sense, realistic, logical. Well, realistic and logical is fine, but if you want to love life, if you want to live a life that you really, really, really want, you have to go beyond common sense. You have to imagine what it would be like to live the life you want. What would it feel like? What would it be? What if it's possible? Some people would just scoff and say that's unrealistic. Some people would say, get your head out of the clouds. I want you to start to think about what's possible. If you notice other people living lives that they love, living lives that you might be jealous of, rather than being jealous or feeling all the negative feelings, good for them, but it can't happen to me. What if you just started to change your mind? Everything starts in the mind. You get a picture in your mind. You start to focus on what if? And that's how you bring it into your reality, how it grows into true, real manifestation by focusing on what you want. Yesterday, I was talking about quit trying harder, quit grinding it out and doing the same things over and over and over, because when you do the same things, you get the same results. Didn't Einstein say that was the definition of insanity? So Price Pritchett, in his little book U Squared, tells us to think beyond what common sense would allow. A 10 or 20% improvement isn't the idea at all. That would only represent incremental gains. If you're looking at your life and thinking, oh, maybe my business could bring in 2% more or 5% more, that's nothing. What if you could multiply your income, make your annual income your monthly income? How would that look in your bank account? What would you be able to do with that if you were out of debt, if you had time and money freedom, if you actually enjoyed using the money for something that you really want, not only what you want, but how great would you feel to leave your family happier, to bring something into the world that everyone would say, wow, how did we not think about this before? Comfort, warm homes for everyone. Focusing on prosperity for all of God's people, not being selfish, but how would you help other people? You know how good it makes you feel when you see someone who's struggling and you help them? Maybe you buy them a coffee, maybe you buy their groceries or let them in line in front of you. Maybe you can't afford to do that, but you just hold the door open and smile and treat another person like a real human being, or even better, that they are spirit in a body just like you are. We are all part of this universe. And if we start to think beyond common sense, think beyond what we've been programmed, we can start to look at solutions. Instead of focusing on problems, we relax our mind and our body and start to think of solutions. What if we just started to focus on possibilities rather than on limits or obstacles? Yesterday, I was talking about quantum leaps. Making a quantum leap means moving outside your mental boundaries. If you'll just stop for a moment and think about how you're thinking, you can multiply your personal performance. You must let your desires guide you instead of allowing yourself to be boxed in by perceived constraints. When you realize that your reality is your reality because of the way you've been thinking, you can start to let go of some of your limiting beliefs and disempowering thoughts and negative thinking patterns and start to create new neural networks in your brain that actually connect to the universal mind, that allow you to think outside of the box that you've been holding yourself in. When you think about possibilities, you can achieve well beyond the obvious, well beyond what's in front of you, way beyond what other people call reality or logic. So I don't want you to limit yourself to thinking about what you think you can have. I want you to start going after what you want. This means you must give yourself permission to dream, to risk. You must set yourself free and quit arguing for your own limitations. Webster's dictionary describes common sense as ordinary good sense or sound practical judgment. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but why does the quantum leap strategy insist that you think beyond what common sense would allow? Well, ordinary, according to the dictionary, means customary, usual, regular, normal, familiar, unexceptional, common, relatively poor or inferior. That doesn't sound very promising, does it? Price Pritchett tells us that Webster's dictionary also describes common sense as sound, practical judgment. Solid, dependable, but look up the meaning of practical and you'll find that it means obtained through practice or action. In other words, common sense is judgment based on past experience. Well, if we keep judging things based on past experience, we're never going to reach the vision that we have in our heart, in our mind, the feeling of what we really want. U squared, or the quantum leap strategy, is based on uncommon sense. U squared of high velocity formula for multiplying your personal effectiveness in a quantum leap is about what you can do now. And that doesn't necessarily have much to do with what you have done in the past. When you boil it all down, common sense is just what it sounds like. It's what people today commonly believe. And common sense is full of dumb, limiting ideas. It has always been that way. Common sense used to say the world is flat. Common sense used to say people can't fly. Bleed people if you want to heal them. The idea of a man on the moon was once pure science fiction, but so was TV and the idea of a heart transplant. Common sense would never have said that the cell phone is any kind of possibility. That was science fiction. If you know the cartoon The Jetsons, it was like it predicted our future, but everybody thought that was crazy fantasy science fiction cartoon. The boss was talking to you over what we would now call FaceTime or a Zoom call. The only thing now is that people aren't flying about in hovercrafts, but we do have hoverboards, and it is possible, but right now there's too many regulations in the air to have people flying all over the place, but it is possible. Common sense still lies to you. It focuses on the obstacles. It reviews what you've done in the past, and it studies the normal achievement patterns of people in general, and then it tells you what you can commonly expect to achieve. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you rely too much on common sense, you can expect to see common results. And what's common? Sound, dependable, practical, ordinary, unexceptional, relatively poor, inferior. If you're listening to me, I know you don't want inferior results. I know you're trying to break out of common, ordinary, revolving around past experiences. Most of us can be found flying too close to the ground. We don't give ourselves permission to soar, to break out of the ordinary. I said at the beginning that a 10 or 20% improvement isn't the idea at all. That would represent only incremental gains. That might be impressive in some situations, but while a 10 or 20% goal might be challenging, it would not represent a quantum leap. Instead of an additional 10% or so, a quantum leap produces a dramatic and multiple gain, an exponential increase. Quantum leaps are by definition rather astounding, and they are certainly unconventional. Not everything is possible, but in areas of your life, what lies within your reach is enough to stagger your mind. You can double your level of success. You can triple it. Far beyond that, you can leverage up your performance to the second or third or fourth power, or even beyond. True, there are limits, but you don't have to worry about them. Your real limits are far beyond your artificial mental boundaries. The real limits won't box you in, but the false ones that you're carrying around in your mind are your self-imposed prison. So how do you break out of that jail? Through surrender. You have to get rid of some of your old limiting beliefs. Sacrifice some of those sensible, logical thinking patterns. You have to stop looking at the current reality and the past. Stop judging the past to predict your future. Cut the cord. Let go of that. It's always been done that way. Well, if it's always been done that way, how do you expect to get something different? So-called common sense can be a curse that puts a ceiling on how far you reach or how high you can fly. The quantum leap strategy is based on uncommon sense. Instead of holding back because you don't have hard proof that you can make a quantum leap, see if you can end up with evidence that proves you can't. Just make the jump. Act as if your success is guaranteed. And then see which set of ideas you should believe in. Common sense, past history, logic, ordinary good sense? Or what do you really, really, really want? Your mindset for the moment may be flawed by doubt and skepticism. The idea of making a quantum leap in your performance, jumping from your present level of achievement to one several stages higher in one bold leap, is an alien idea. You haven't been trained to think that way. You may have definite reservations about the possibility that you can make such exponential improvement at all, particularly with less effort and in a very abbreviated time frame. The experts agree that people use only about 10% of their true potential. So if we accept that argument, even if there were no outside resources, you could still do 10 times as well as you've been doing. Your skepticism, which you presume is based on rational thinking and an objective assessment of factual data about yourself, is rooted in mental junk. Your doubts are not the product of accurate thinking, but habitual thinking. Years ago, you accepted flawed conclusions as being correct, and you began to live your life as if those warped ideas about your potential were really true. And you ceased the bold experiment in living that brought you many breakthrough behaviors when you were a child. Now it's time for you to find that faith that you had in yourself before. Is there a time when you were a little kid that you thought you could jump off the roof of the garage and really fly? Maybe you put on a cape. Maybe you jumped off the garage and broke your leg. Or maybe your parents stopped you from doing that because you might get hurt. And you believed people can't fly. Well, human beings can't really fly by themselves, but think about how we would be living if the Wright brothers did not pursue their dream of flying. Isn't it lovely to jump on an airplane and fly to a hot destination when it's 40 below outside, and you arrive on a beach and have a cocktail and enjoy the beautiful beach? The beautiful beach is there. It's available. It's there and you're here, but you can visualize it. You can pretend that you're there. You can stay in the house and crank up the heat and close your eyes and pretend that you're sitting on a beach chair. You can turn on some white noise and listen to the waves of the ocean lapping up on the shore. You can put on a podcast that just plays tropical music, and you hear birds chirping and you hear water flowing. It's real. It might be on the other side of the world from where you are right now, but it doesn't mean it's not real. It's here now. But you are physically, maybe you're physically in your car driving on a snowy highway, or maybe you're walking through a beautiful field of flowers. Maybe you're sitting in your office and it's cold and snowy outside. That's temporary. Your mind can take you anywhere, but we've trained it to worry and doubt and think about limitations instead of being at work worrying about what's happening at home, or being on a holiday worrying about what's going on at work. What if we just enjoyed what we can create in our mind? When you relax your mind, when you relax your body, your mind can bring you beautiful solutions. You make the quantum leap strategy by relaxing your mind, by stopping the current physical reality. And that means getting quiet, shutting out some of that 6-lane highway of noise and news, of have to and should do, and allowing yourself to be calm, setting the intention that you're going to be calm and relaxed. Visualize whatever you want. Visualize a beautiful place that you've already been. Maybe it's your cottage at the beach. Maybe it's a trip to Europe or Hawaii. Maybe it's your own backyard if you've created a garden of solitude. If you're alone and you're safe sitting in a comfortable chair, close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And visualize what you prefer. It may be a place that you've been, a place that you know, a place that you are at home in your comfortable, cozy chair or in your own bed, grateful that you are warm, safe, comfortable, protected. You might say, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am happy. I am protected. I am safe. I am respected. I am prosperity. I am abundantly, richly blessed in every area of my life. Your visualization might take you into the loving arms of someone who you really love, even if it's your pet. Mentally envision yourself already in possession of the results that you desire in your life. The results are as real in your mind as the clothes that you're wearing. Really see the picture. If you haven't yet decided where you're going, you might just feel truly grateful for what you already have accomplished, the wealth that you've created in your life, the relationships that you have, the places that you've already been, the life that you've already created, and the victories that you've already accomplished. You have done wonderful things. You have gone beyond what you thought you could do, beyond what other people expected. You've created some wonderful things in your life. You know, you could write a list of your victories. Keep a victory log of everything that you've done. You learned how to walk. Maybe you learned how to swim. Maybe you learned how to ride a bike or a motorcycle or drive a car. Maybe you've bought your own house. Maybe you've designed a house. Maybe you've taken care of something and you're really proud. I did that. Maybe you painted a picture or learned how to play an instrument. There are some skills and talents and abilities that you have that no one else has. You can write a victory log. You could write what you're grateful for. You could write your dream goal and pretend that you're already there. Take a few moments to do this. Every day before you start your day, every night before you go to sleep, it makes a difference. When you relax your mind, you start to think of possibilities, and then those possibilities become probabilities. And then you can make a quantum leap in your life and actually live your dream. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Take on the day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.